Hello everybody, welcome into the live stream. Hello, my name is Ollie. Welcome back. We're doing some chemistry today for some TEAS 7 practice. It's just some chemistry review today. Hello, welcome in. We're going to get started here with some chemistry practice problems. Hello everyone. Welcome in. We're going to do some chemistry practice today. Hello everybody, welcome in. Give me 1 second, I'm just lining this up so you guys can see it a little better. Welcome. Thanks for liking the live, everybody. Welcome in. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. We're going to do some chemistry today. We're doing some chemistry review for the HESI and TEAS for those who have it coming up. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Hello. Welcome in. How's everyone doing today? Happy, what's today, Thursday? Happy May 1st. Happy 1st of the month. We'll get started here in just a moment. But how's everyone doing today? You guys are awesome for joining us today. Welcome in. Thanks for returning. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ollie. I do go live every day covering anatomy and physiology and other topics that you guys request. It's been highly requested that we do a chemistry TEAS 7 live stream. So that's what we have here today. We'll get started here in just a moment. How's everyone doing today? Hello, welcome in. Welcome. Woohoo, welcome in, Lally. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Welcome in. I don't have any math content. I do not know. Anyone that does any specific, but we can definitely do some math upcoming here as long as some people request it. But I can definitely start doing some practice tests for that. And making videos for YouTube as well. But we'll go ahead and get started here now. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Ollie. I have a master's degree in molecular medicine, and I do go live every day covering topics that you guys request. Mostly anatomy and physiology. Today, we're doing some chemistry for the TEAS 7 exam, just some review. We're on number 1. Which subatomic particle has a negative charge? Yes, please, HESI Math, please. Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do some. Thank you for sharing the live. Thanks for liking the live. I appreciate it. The more that you guys do like the live, the more that it does get it out to people. This practice exam can be found on my website. You should be able to view my TikTok story after live as well. I will have the direct link there. But you just go to my website, which is in my TikTok bio. It's MedZeg, and it's under practice test. It'll have today's date on it, May 1st. Yes, all the questions are multiple choice. Alrighty, the answer is C. It is an electron. Oops, that's C, electron. So electrons have a negative charge and they orbit the nucleus. Protons have a positive charge. Neutrons are the subatomic particle that have no charge. And the nucleus is a structure that's made of protons and neutrons. So when we have the nucleus, that is what's going to have our protons plus our neutrons, and the electrons surround it. Number 2, what is the mass number? What is the mass number of an atom with 6 protons and 8 neutrons? I'll give you guys just a moment to answer. Alrighty. What is the mass number of an atom with 6 protons and 8 neutrons? The answer is 14. So the mass number is our protons plus our neutrons. So our mass number is equal to our protons plus our neutrons. So we have 6 protons plus 8 neutrons. That's going to give us 14 as a mass number. All right. Number 3, isotopes differ in the number of and hello to everybody that just joined. Welcome in, welcome in. We're doing some chemistry review for the TEAS science section. And I will be posting this to YouTube afterwards as well. I'll give you guys a moment to answer. So isotopes differ in the number of neutrons. So isotopes essentially mean they are the same in that they have the same number of protons, but they have a different number of neutrons. All right. Number 4, an atom that gains an electron, or an atom that gains electron becomes. We're on to number 4 now. An atom that gains electron becomes. Awesome, awesome. It is C. It is an anion. An anion. So when you gain electrons, again, electrons are negative. So when you get more of them, you become more negative. And when you are more negative, you are considered an anion. The opposite is a cation, which is positive. Number 5, which element has an atomic number of 8? Now, you don't have to memorize the entire periodic table, but you do want to know a lot of the common ones. Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome in everybody that just joined. Welcome, my name is Ollie. I do go live every single day. What chapter is this? This isn't really any particular chapter in a sense. This is just kind of more so on just chemistry. Just gen chem stuff. I guess chapter 2 from anatomy and physiology, if you want to say, because that's what it is in that class. But this is more of an overview of all the chemistry for the TEAS 7. So just chemistry for that regard in terms of what it covers. Is there any study guides that I would recommend? I'm actually working on one now. But kind of just your typical ones like Kaplan and whatnot. I know Kaplan has some good ones. But I am working on some. But number 5, the answer is C. It is oxygen. Now, while you don't have to have the periodic table memorized, I definitely recommend to have some of the common ones memorized. Hydrogen being 1, oxygen being 8, nitrogen being 7, carbon, fluorine is pretty important, so I remember that one's 9. This one's 9. The rest of these, this is 7, and then hydrogen's 1. Number 6, how many electrons can the first energy level hold? And hello to everybody that just joined us. Welcome in. My name is Ollie. I do go live every single day covering anatomy and physiology mostly, but I do other topics. Like today we're doing chemistry, specifically some review for the HESI and TEAS. But I do upload these to YouTube afterwards as well, and you can get this practice test on my website under practice tests if you want to do it yourself. Number 6, the answer is 2. Answer choice A, it's 2. So the first shell of electrons can hold a max of 2. And then 8 is the second shell beyond, so second plus. Number 7, what is the charge of a neutron? What is the charge of a neutron? practice, so that's totally okay. Do we have any questions on proton NMR? I'm not sure. You were the reason I passed my final exam this morning. Thank you. Your YouTubes are the best. Thank you so much, Lil. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That made my day. I appreciate that. I'm so proud of you, though. Congrats on passing your exam. The answer is C, neutral. It's kind of in the name here, neutron, N-E-U. So neutral, neutron. Number 8, the atomic number of an atom represents what? What does the atomic number of an atom represent? Number 8, the atomic number of an atom represents what? The answer is C, protons. So the atomic number represents the number of protons in an atom. The total of electrons, that's only if the atom would be neutral. But neutrons contribute to the mass, not the atomic number. But D mass number is the total number of protons plus neutrons. All right. So protons, the number of protons is the atomic number. The mass number is the protons plus the neutrons. Number 9. Which of the following is an isotope of hydrogen? Remember what an isotope is. And welcome in, everybody. We're doing some chemistry review for the TEAS 7 exam. Hello, welcome in. My name is Ollie. I have a master's degree in molecular medicine. Yep, I explained isotope a little earlier, but we'll go over it here in just a second. I'll explain what an isotope is. If you do miss anything in this live stream, I do post every single TikTok live stream to YouTube afterwards. But let's talk about what an isotope is. So an isotope means that it has the same number of protons, but it has different number of neutrons. So if we look through these, helium, so we talked about hydrogen. Hydrogen has 1 proton. Helium has 2 protons. So it does not have the same number of protons. It's not A. Deuterium has 1 proton and 1 neutron, which is we have 1 proton in hydrogen. So yes, that would be an isotope. Now let's look at answer choice C. Tritium has 1 proton, the same as hydrogen, which has 1 proton. So the answer would be both B and C. So as long as they have the same number of protons, they are an isotope. Number 10, ions are atoms that have, we're moving on to number 10 now. Ions are atoms that have what? Give you all a moment to answer. Perfect, everybody. So ions have lost or gained an electron. So when electrons change, it forms an ion. Changing into another element, that would be something that is nuclear. Lost or gained protons would change the element itself and split their nucleus. That's called fission. That's irrelevant here, really. So an ion is something that has lost or gained an electron. Number 11, ionic bonds occur between. So what do, I'm studying the endocrine system right now. I actually did an endocrine system live stream yesterday. The video to the replay of that is actually uploading right now to YouTube. It's linked in my bio if you want to rewatch that. But I also have a bunch of other videos for the endocrine system too. But welcome in, everybody. We're doing some chemistry review for the TEAS 7 exam. Just a little bit of practice. My name is Ollie. I do go live every day covering mostly anatomy and physiology, but other topics that you guys do request. Number 11, an ionic bond occurs between, it is C, a metal and a non-metal. This is because, ionic bonds form when electrons, so I always write electrons as just an E and negative. They get transferred from a metal to a non-metal. And this is what is known as ionic. So it takes it away. And the way that I always kind of remember that, you can also say steal. Think of like I is me, I'm taking away electrons. Number 12, covalent bonds include the OG. Exactly. Thank you for liking the live, everybody, as well. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. So number 12 is sharing of electrons. And the way that I always remember that, covalent has co in it. I think of the word cooperate. So when you cooperate, you kind of share. That's the way that I always thought about that one. Number 13, water is considered which of the following? Either A, ionic, B, nonpolar covalent, C, polar covalent, or D, metallic. I'll give you guys just a moment to answer. Thanks for all the participation, everybody. I really appreciate you guys being here today in the live stream. You guys are awesome. Fantastic, everybody. It is C. It is polar covalent. Polar covalent. So water has an unequal sharing of electrons. Unequal electron sharing. Making it a polar molecule. So unequal, kind of opposite. Think of the globe, and you have the North and South Pole. I always thought they were kind of opposites, so polar meaning unequal. Number 14, a hydrogen bond is a weak attraction between what? And do I need to bump up my screen brightness a little bit? My screen is very dark on my end. Hi, Tamara, how are you doing? Welcome in. Thanks for liking and sharing the live, everybody, and thanks for following. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. Number 14. The answer is B. It is between hydrogen and oxygen or nitrogen. Also, it can be in fluorine. But essentially, hydrogen bonds form basically between either hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine in the polar molecules. But number 15, in a chemical reaction, substances to the left of the arrow are called. So if we have a reaction, but let's just say down here, we have our H2 plus O2 yields H2O. So the left side of the arrow, so what would these be called? So it's, let me write this out again. So if H2 plus O2, here's the arrow, the H2. So this creates this. So these are the reactants, and this is the product. So to the left of the arrow would be the reactants. So this is what is going to react to create the product. All right. Just move this out of the way. Number 16, which law states that matter cannot be created or destroyed in a reaction? It can only be transferred. Coefficients refers to the numbers that are in front of the chemical formula. Really used to like balance equations. But they would multiply the entire molecule. So if you had 2H2, these would multiply, so you would have 4 hydrogen atoms. The answer is B. It is the law of conservation. Oops, hold on. Sorry, I circled the wrong one. Law of conservation of mass. So this law states that mass remains constant in a chemical reaction. So it is the law of conservation of matter that states matter cannot be created or destroyed in a reaction. The law of thermodynamics deals with energy. The law of conservation of energy applies to energy. Newton's law deals with motion. Alrighty. Moving on to number 17. What type of reaction is where we have A plus B equals AB? So A and B have combined to create AB. What kind of reaction is that? So if we build something up, what does that get referred to as? Awesome. It is D. It is synthesis. It is synthesis. So a synthesis reaction combines two or more substrates into one compound. So A and B were separate and they came together to form a compound. 5 more points for Gryffindor. Number 18, balance the equation. Decomposition is breaking down. Single replacement involves essentially an element replacing another, and double replacement exchanges components of two compounds. Thank you for the rose, Suzanne. I appreciate it. Yes, a synthesis reaction it can also be called a composition reaction. Yes, so this could also be referred to as composition. Number 18, balance the equation. So, the answer is B. This balances both the hydrogen and oxygen atoms on both sides. So, why this is because we have 2 hydrogens plus oxygen yield H2O. Essentially here we have to have what was the comment? So there would be too many oxygens in the D. So for the reactants here, so you need 2 oxygens. So on this side, so count out how many atoms are on each side. So divide these two. So over here you have 2 hydrogens and you have 2 oxygens. On this side you have 2 hydrogens, but you only have 1 oxygen. So to get 2 oxygens, you have to multiply this by, you have to multiply the water by 2. So now you have 2 H2O. But now, so we've solved that problem. So we now, on this side, we have 2 oxygens, just like we have 2 oxygens. But now, 2 times 2 equals 4. We have 4 hydrogens on the product side. So to get that, we have to multiply this side by, we have to multiply this hydrogen by 2 to get 4. So now when we balance this up, we have 4 hydrogens and 2 oxygens on the reactant side, and now we have 4 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, 2 hydrogens on or 2 oxygens on this side. Does that make sense? So you just use some multiplication to balance them. Gotcha. So when you have to balance the equation, you have to have the same number of atoms on each side, or elements on each side. So if we have H2 plus O2 yields H2O, we have 2 hydrogens, 2 oxygens on the reactant side, but we have 2 hydrogens and only 1 oxygen over here. So how do we get 2 oxygens on the right side of this equation? We multiply 1 by 2. So we added a second hydrogen, and now we've accomplished getting 2 oxygens on the right side of the equation, but now we have 4 hydrogens, and we only have 2 on the left side. So we have to multiply this by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So now we have 4 hydrogens on both sides and 2 oxygens on both sides. Yurgon said, thank you for doing this. Yeah, no problem. And I do post these to YouTube afterwards as well. If you need to rewatch anything. The link to that is in my bio. It's Ollie Herzig. And then I also have the practice test on my website, MedZeg. It's also linked in my bio. It's under practice test if you want to take this test yourself. Thanks for all the likes on the live, everybody. Thanks for all the follows. I really appreciate you guys. Always love seeing new faces around here. Chemistry has never been my strong suit. I personally don't like chemistry very much in terms of this is just like general chemistry sense. I really enjoy like organic chemistry and biochemistry. It's very interesting whenever you actually get to apply it more. Really helped me pass the AMP. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to help in any way. 19. Combustion reactions typically involve what? Combustion reactions typically involve what? I mainly focus with anatomy and physiology, but I will do like pharmacology. I'm really specified. Like I have a master's degree in medicine, so I'm very specialized when it comes to all the topics in medicine. So that's really what I'm focused around. But I'm in Gen Chem 2. Do you think organic chemistry is easier than general? I'm a bit worried. Me personally, I think you're either a Gen Chem person or you're an organic chemistry person. I did not like general chemistry. I just found this stuff to be tedious and boring. I don't really care. But organic chemistry was very fun to me. I enjoyed it. It's still hard. Like, I think everyone's like, it's all hard. If it wasn't hard, there would be a lot more doctors and there wouldn't be a shortage of doctors and nurses. It's hard. But you just got to practice. It's just a lot of practice. Just practice, 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 practice. But I didn't like chemistry, but I loved organic chemistry. I did very well. And I love pharmacology, biochemistry, biomechanics, anatomy and physiology. But number 19, the answer is A. It is oxygen and a hydrocarbon. So combustion is a reaction between a hydrocarbon and oxygen, and it also usually forms carbon dioxide and water. Number 20. Which of the following is a double replacement reaction? I have 60 questions here today for us. I'm neither person. I prefer biology and physio. Yeah, when it comes to like the more like technical stuff, I definitely don't enjoy it as much. It's not that it's really hard for me. I just don't enjoy it. Or it took me for a spin. I think my spin was physics. My spin was definitely physics, for sure. Physics was the bane of my existence. I hated that class. Which is weird, because I loved calculus. Like, I killed calculus 1 and 2. I actually finished with over 100 in both, but physics took me for... That was my Achilles heel of my classes, for sure. But number 20... Is organic chemistry much harder than Gen Chem? I think it depends on the person. Depends on what's harder for you. They're both hard. I don't want to I don't know. And they're all hard. It just is what it is, but they're all hard. Which is harder is, depends on, what you find easier to do. The answer here is C. It is a double replacement reaction. So remember, when we have two compounds that switch ions, that's what's going to be our double replacement. So we have A and B plus C and D. The A and B switched. I'm sorry, the B and the D switched. So A and B became A and D, and C and D became C and B. Number 21, which state of matter has a definite shape and volume? When do I go live? I go live every day. Pretty much every day. Around 1 p.m. For Orgo is more memorization, while Gen Chem is more application. I just don't enjoy the math. Number 21, the answer is A. It is a solid. What app am I using? I'm using GoodNotes. And if I miss a question, I apologize. Feel free to put it back in. Sometimes I just miss things when I write on my screen. Number 21, which state of matter has a definite shape and volume? The answer is a solid. Solid, just like this pen here that I have that I'm writing on my iPad with, it has a definite shape. If I change the shape, I break it, and it has a definite volume, so it takes up a definite amount of space. Liquids have volume, but they have no fixed shape. So right now I'm chugging down here a Pepsi Zero Wild Cherry, and the volume here is in the can, but it doesn't have a definite shape. I could dump this out on my screen, ruining my iPad, but the liquid would go kind of all over. Gases have neither. It's kind of like a fart in a way. Yes, this is a chemistry review for the TEAS. Number 22, which phase chain involves going from a solid to a gas? So when we go from a solid to a gas. Is the math in chemistry difficult? I personally don't. I think it's more so it's difficult if you don't practice. It's not really something that you kind of just like pick up naturally. I think it definitely takes some practice. But I don't think it's hard if you practice, like I said. And that's just the same thing with organic chemistry. If you practice and you know and you memorize what you're supposed to, It really doesn't end up being that hard. It's just more so something you really just can't, like, you wouldn't just, like, know in a way. You have to practice. Number 22, which phase change involves going from a solid to a gas? The answer is B, sublimation. So this is direct solid to gas transition. Condensation is gas. I'm just going to put G for gas. Gas to liquid. Freezing is from liquid to solid. And melting is from solid to liquid. So we have solid, liquid, gas. Sublimation is directly bypassing the liquid. Number 23, what is a physical change? So we have physical versus chemical changes. The hard part at Orgo is you don't fully understand. If you don't fully grasp the fundamentals, you'll struggle later. Yeah, definitely. If you don't start practicing from the day, yeah. If you, it very much builds on each other for sure. My entire final exam was like 4 questions for organic chemistry, and it was literally just like finish reactions from like start to finish. Will I have biomechanics notes for sale soon? Yes, absolutely, I will. I've just been going through them, double-checking them, just to make sure they're up to the standard that I think they should be before I would post them to be public. Yep, I will be around next year. I just passed my TEAS yesterday. Thanks for your help. Awesome, Josie. Congratulations. I'm so glad that you passed. If you get a congratulations in the chat, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it if people did that. They deserve it. They earned it. Congratulations. I know you worked very hard for that. Number 23. A physical change is boiling water. So let's talk about the difference between a physical versus a chemical change. So a physical change changes the state. So like we talked about up here, our solid, liquid, gas. A physical change is a change in state between a solid, liquid, and a gas. So boiling water, it's a liquid, you boil it, some of it gets evaporated, turns into gas. A chemical change is when you change the chemical identity. So when you burn paper, you can't get that back. You have chemically changed it. Think about iron. Whenever it rusts, you have chemically changed it. When you eat food and you digest it and you poop it out, you can't change that food back into the cupcake that you ate. It's still poop. So those are examples of chemical changes. Just think about, like, if you're talking about like what happens at the end of what's going on. Can I change it back? Like if you boil water, you can freeze that water afterwards, obviously. But the formula for density is, they give you formulas, but it's always good to have them memorized and be aware of what they are and recognize them. Perfect. It is B. Density is mass divided by volume. Perfect. Awesome, everybody. Number 25, what has the lowest density of all the states? What has the lowest density? And thanks, everybody, for joining us. Welcome in if you're new here. My name is Ollie. I have a master's degree in molecular medicine, and I do go live every day, covering mostly anatomy and physiology, but I do other topics as well. Like today, we're doing some chemistry review for the TEAS 7 exam for nursing school. And then we also do pharmacology as well. We also do some biomechanics here on the page as well. And I do post these live streams to YouTube. It's linked in my TikTok bio. And then I also have my notes from when I was in the classes. And the practice test on my website, it is Medzig. It is also linked in my bio. I will write it right here. Number 25. The answer is gas. So gas has the lowest density because the particles are farther apart. So liquids and solids are denser. And all the same, the densities vary. So it would not be all of them. Number 26, freezing involves going from what state to what state? Freezing involves going from what state to what state? Awesome. The answer is C. It is a liquid to a solid. Number 27. Which of the following is a chemical property? Which of the following is a chemical property? So think of our physical versus chemical. Physical versus chem. Where has the identity of the object changed versus where has the state of the object changed? The answer is the flammability. So flammability describes the ability to undergo a chemical change. Number 28, melting is, what do you have to do in terms of energy to melt something? Boiling point is a physical change. Yes, it is. Because you boil. So when you boil water, you're changing the state. So the liquid, you boil it, and some of it evaporates and becomes a gas. But again, you can decrease the temperature. But melting is A. It is endothermic. So when you go to melt something, you require energy. And what are you using as energy when you melt something? Heat. Heat is energy. So you require energy to break bonds. Exothermic releases energy. So this requires energy. I have 60 questions. So endothermic requires energy in the form of heat to melt something. Exothermic releases energy. Number 29, what causes water to have a high boiling point? What causes water to have a high boiling point? And hello to everybody that just joined. Welcome in. My name is Ollie, and I do go live every day covering anatomy and physiology and other topics that you guys request. We're doing some chemistry review today for the TEAS 7 exam, and I will be posting this replay of the live stream to YouTube afterwards as well. I do have study guides and notes available for anatomy and physiology on my website. That is also linked in my bio. Number 29, what causes water to have a high boiling point? The answer is B, it is hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonding, there are strong intermolecular forces. So remember, intermolecular forces. This is going to increase our boiling point. A, ionic bond, again, it's polar covalent, so it's not ionic. And C and D, these are just not the reasons why. Water is neutral anyway. But number 30, condensation is a change from... I hate when I second guess myself. Yeah, no, always trust your gut. It's definitely my biggest advice when it comes to taking exams. Never second guess yourself. Alrighty, perfect. Remember, so condensation is from B. It is a gas. to a liquid. So when gas loses energy, it becomes a liquid. These are the other phase changes. Number 31, in a saltwater solution, salt would be. Number 31, in a saltwater solution, the salt would be. Where can we access these question sheets? It's on my website under practice tests. It's linked in my bio. And then afterwards, you should be able to look at my TikTok story. I have the direct link to the exam there afterwards. How many questions are on the TEAS exam each subject? I would look it up on their website. In terms of the exact numbers, I don't remember off the top of my head. But normally it's 170 questions total, with 20 of them being unscored, I believe. But again, the answer would be B. It would be solute. So in a saltwater solution, so we have salt, NaCl, and water, H2O. Water is what's known as a universal solvent. So water would be our solvent, salt would be our solute. The solute is the substance that is dissolved, and the solvent is what does the dissolving. So in this case, salt is what is dissolved, making it the solute. Water is doing the dissolving, making it the solvent. Solution would be the overall mixture. So the solution is the overall mixture of the salt and the water. Mixture is just too vague. Solution would be more specific, but again, that is the overall. What does it mean it's not square? It just doesn't mean, it means that they don't count against you if you get them wrong. They're like extra questions. Number 32, which of the following is a homogeneous mixture? Yep, no problem. Thank you for everybody that just joined. Welcome. Thanks for following. My name is Ollie. I have a master's degree in molecular medicine, and I've been tutoring for about 5 years now for anatomy and physiology. I do go live every day covering A&P, and today we're doing chemistry for the T7, just some chemistry review. I do upload these to YouTube afterwards as well. It's linked in my bio, as well as my website with all my study guides and notes. And I have the practice test link there as well under practice tests. Alrighty. So the answer is going to be, for the homogeneous mixture, it is salt water, because salt gets completely dissolved in water. It creates a uniform or similar, which is what homogeneous means, composition throughout the entire solution. So no matter where you would sample it, the ratio to salt to water will be the same. A salad would be a heterogeneous because you can separate the individual components like the lettuce, the tomatoes, the cucumbers, so it is not uniform throughout. If I were to take a little sample out of it, trail mix is like, what is trail mix? So trail mix is like that like snack that contains a bunch of different like nuts, raisins, chocolates. Again, it is not evenly distributed and can be physically separated. Sand and iron is a heterogeneous mixture because sand and iron retain their separate physical properties, and they can be separated with a magnet. So they are not uniformly mixed. So homogeneous means that they are uniformly mixed. So salt gets completely dissolved in water. If you think about it, when you have a bowl and you throw lettuce and tomatoes in the bowl, one of them doesn't dissolve the other. Number 33, a pH of 2 indicates, remember our pH scale goes from 0 to 14. So we're closer to 0. So what would that make this? I get these questions from my textbook. But yeah, I make them up pretty much on my own. Just good review for the TEAS. I have a couple friends who are nurses who have taken the TEAS. They look over the questions and tell me if they think they're good review or not. But they don't release the exact questions from the exam. This is just review for the material that would be on it, so you just know that you're reviewing. Like I said, it's just review. I'm not saying this is the exact exam. Number 2, pH of number 2 indicates that it is a strong acid. I do one-on-one tutoring. Yeah, it's on my website. Send me an email first, though, because it is full. It is around final season. So send me an email first. My email's in my bio. I do tutoring for anatomy and physiology. Number 34, water is called the universal solvent because... but anything, so any pH that is below about 3 is going to be a strong acid. Weak acids are a pH of about 4 to 6. 7 is neutral. A strong base would be about 12 to 14, and a weak base is like 8 to 11. Number 34, water is the universal solvent because it dissolves many polar substances. So it's true, it does not dissolve all substances. So if you think about it, in your skin, if you get water on your skin doesn't dissolve. Answer is B. Being able to change states doesn't refer to it being a solvent. And then neutral pH is not the reason for its dissolving power. Again, it has a pH of about 7, so it's neutral. But dissolving all substances is false. Water's polarity is what allows it to dissolve ionic and polar molecules. Number 35, a pH of 10 is... 35. Again, like I just said. A weak base is between 8 and 11. So if the pH is 10, it is a weak base. So neutral would be 7. Strong bases are about 12 to 14. And acidic is below 7. All right. Number 36. Neutralization occurs when... And hello to everybody. If you're new here, welcome in. My name is... Have I ever tutored respiratory therapy students? Yes, I have tutored respiratory therapy students before for A&P, yes. But hello everybody, welcome. My name is Ollie. I do go live every day covering mostly anatomy and physiology, but today we're doing some chemistry review. Tomorrow we'll be doing pharmacology. But number 36, neutralization occurs when an acid and a base mix. So the process of neutralization, acids and bases neutralize each other. They end up forming like salt and water. So if you have an acidic solution and you wanted to get it to be neutral, you would add a base to the solution to get it to be neutral. Number 37, adhesion refers to Number 37, adhesion refers to neutralization revolves around, so if we have a pH, if we have a solution and the pH is 4, which is acidic, you would add a solution which is basic, but let's just say 11. The solution gets added to become about neutral at 7. So in theory. So acidic, basic. So you're just trying to neutralize it, meaning you don't want it to be as acidic or basic, and then vice versa. If you had something that was basic and you added acidic, you would neutralize it. Number 37, adhesion refers to water sticking to other substances. Cohesion is when water sticks to itself. So water has a property to stick to itself and other substances, and adhesion is the property that allows water to stick to other substances. So if you were to drop water on my hand, it would kind of it would stick a little bit. Number 38. Oops, my live stream wants me to make sure that I'm still here. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. I hate these. Oh my goodness. Same shape. None of these are the same shape. There we go. I hate those things to make sure that I'm still active. Number 38, what is the solvent in sweet tea? What is the solvent in sweet tea? For those just joining and asking what this is for, this is some chemistry review for the TEAS 7. So we're just doing some chemistry review. Some Gen Chem review. All right, so the solvent is what is doing the dissolving. That'd be our water. Remember, water is our universal solvent. And the solute is what gets dissolved. So the tea powder and the sugar in sweet tea are what get dissolved. Ice would just be solid water, so it would not be part of the solution at a room temperature. But water dissolves the sugar and tea compounds in the sweet tea. Number 39, an example of a base is what? Thank you for the rose, your mama. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Once again, explain cohesion and adhesion. Yeah, so cohesion and adhesion are properties of water. And they refer to water's ability to stick. Cohesion is with itself. And adhesion is with other substances. So think about when you have water and you have two droplets and you kind of push them together, they end up like, they connect, they like stick together. Or if you drop water on the page, it kind of like sticks there, it sticks. That's adhesion. The way I remember cohesion is like cooperate, so that's kind of operating together with itself. Adhesion is adjacent, so I'm always thinking of like something that is in similar to, so and similar to being the other substance is how I kind of remember the difference between those. So cohesion, cooperate, acts with so it works with itself. Adhesion is adjacent, other substances. But number 39, the answer is C, bleach. Bleach contains sodium hypochlorite, which is a strong base. Lemon juice, vinegar, apple juice, they're all acidic. These are all acidic. Number 40, the higher the hydrogen ion concentration, what is the result? Just shut up and give the answer. Okay, yeah, you're blocked. That's rude. We're here to explain why the answer is right and why the other ones are wrong. That is rude. So bleach is basic. It's a basic because it has mostly sodium hypochlorite. So you would use bleach to essentially neutralize an acid. But number 4, the higher the hydrogen ion concentration, the answer is C. The more acidic the solution is. So a high pH, so a high hydrogen concentration, brackets mean concentration, means a low pH, which means it is acidic. And then opposite for a low hydrogen concentration gives a high pH, meaning it's basic. Can I do immunology? Yeah, I've done immunology in the past. Definitely message me if... definitely message me some what like in particular topics that you'd like to see for that. But number 41, what is the SI unit for mass? I don't do AP Chem, but I do general chemistry sometimes. But they're the same topics, so... That'd be questions. Yeah, if you send me some questions to do or send me what you want me to go over, yeah, for sure. I do take requests for live topics. Is the TEAS the same as the NLN and EX exam? No, they're different. But they are an entrance exam to nursing school. Does TEAS Chem have less math than... Yes, it does have less math. .41, the answer is B, it is a gram. So gram is... It's also kilogram as well, but mostly grams are used. Liter is for volume, meter is length, and second is for time. So if you wanted to convert, know your conversion scale. Definitely have that memorized. Practice those type of questions. But if we were to convert 5,000 milligrams to grams, how would we do so? And what would the answer be? Can I do more chemistry tests and explanations? Yes. When do I go? I go live pretty much every day and around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Perfect. So grams, what we would do here is a larger unit. So what we would do is we would take 5,000, we would divide it by 1,000 to get 5 grams. Five grams. So take it by 5,000, divided by 1,000, we get 5 grams. Which is C. You don't understand? Okay, so when you have to convert, so the metric system is based on powers of 10. So 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. So to convert milligrams to grams, you have to divide by 1,000. So if you had 5,000 milligrams, you would divide by 1,000. Same thing, if you had 4,000 milligrams, you would divide by 1,000, and you would get 4 grams. All right. Moving on to 43. What is the correct scientific notation for 0.0042? So your conversions would, if you would just look up a conversion chart, that is essentially what will give you your, so you have your, they're all pretty similar. So you have your base unit, and everything above this is going to be larger than your base unit. Everything below this is going to be smaller. So you have your kilo, hecto, deca, you have deci, centi, and milli. And they're not by powers of 10. So these would be 10, 100, 1,000, 10, 100, 1,000. And this is your base, right? So to go up, you have to divide. And to go down, you have to multiply. I can't see anatomy and physiology questions. What do you mean as if? But number 43. So you always want, so correct scientific notation means that you have one number in front of this. So we have to get this decimal over behind the 4. Think of how many times do we have to jump there. So we go 1, 2, 3. And we went, so to the right is backwards, meaning negative. If we went this way, it would be a larger number. However, that would give us the answer of B. It would be 4.2 times 10 to the negative third. That is scientific notation. Why negative 3? Because we went back. So when you go backwards, it's negative. When you go forwards, it would be positive. All right, so again, this will be on YouTube if you've missed any explanation, but I'll go over this again. So scientific notation, when we have a number, we have to, you basically want there to be a at least one number in front of the decimal place. So we have to get this decimal behind the 4, and we have to go backwards. So 1, 2, 3. So that gives us our times 10 to the third for now, right? So we have 4.2 times 10 to the third. But we had to go backwards, making this negative. So we had to make a smaller number larger, in a sense. So that's what gives us the negative. Because scientific notation is where the decimal place is in front of the first number, or behind the first number. So an example of it going forward, if we wanted to write, so this example, so we'll do this one. So 4.2 times 10 to the third would be, if you were asked to write 4,200 .0. So this is technically, if 4,200.0, if you had to write this in scientific notation, the decimal would go from here, 1, 2, 3, 4.2 times 10 to the third. So we made a larger number smaller. So when you were to multiply times 10 to the negative third, you would get 4,200. Does this make sense now? Got it. Times 10 is just the negative, it's just the sign. So scientific notation is if you take out your calculator and you write in your calculator it's basically like a really weird way to make numbers look easier to read. So if you take the answer 4.2 times 10, or I'm sorry, if you take 4.2 and you multiply that by 10 to the third power, so the exponent of 3, you would get 4,200. In the same sense that if you multiplied it by negative 3, you would get the 0.0042. It's just different ways of expressing a number, but this is scientific notation, so it wants you to express the number as one of these. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thanks for all the follows, everybody. And thanks for sharing the live. I hope that this is helping you guys out. I appreciate you guys being here. Yes, you can use a calculator on the Hezi, but I don't think you can bring your own. I think they provide one for you. All right, but number 44, how many centimeters is in 2.5 meters? Again, we talked about our scale here. So centimeters is smaller than our base unit of meters, so we have to multiply. Since we're going down, we're making it smaller. We have to multiply. Alrighty, so 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So we would take 2.5, multiply that by 100, and we would get 250 centimeters. So again, centi is to the 10th, it is a 100th of the base unit. Just like milli would be 1,000th of a base unit. So, our next question, question 45, 1,000 milliliters, so our liter is our base unit. If we have 1,000 milliliters, and a milli is a thousandth of 1, what would 45 be? 45 would be B, 1 liter. So basically, we're going from a smaller to a larger unit, so we have to divide. So we would take 1,000 divided by 1,000, giving us 1 liter. All right. Sig figs, the bane of existence in chemistry. How many sig figs are in 0.00450? or number 46. I'll give you guys just a number. All right, so sig figs. So the leading zeros before any non-zero digit are not significant. They only show the decimal placement. So any leading zeros before the non-zero digit, our first non-digit is 4. How many digits are before that? There's 3. These are not important. So what are we left with? We're left with 4, 5, and 0, giving us 3 sig figs. And so the 4 and the 5 are non-zero digits. They are always significant. The trailing 0 after the 5 is also significant because it comes after the decimal point and after a non-zero digit. It indicates the measurement that was made to the 100th place. So it does count. Does that make sense? Something from an actual chem final. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. Alrighty, guys. All right, let's move on. 47. Which prefix means 1/1000th? TH at the end. The answer is C. It is milli. Milli stands for 1/1000th or 10 to the negative third. Centi would be 10 to the negative second. It's also 1/100th. Deci is 10 to the negative 1. It'd be 1/10. Kilo would be 1,000th. So that'd be 10 to the third. 48. Which temperature scale is used in the metric system? Which temperature scale is used in the metric system? The answer is C. So the temperature scale that is used in the metric system is Celsius. Celsius is the metric unit commonly used for our everyday temperatures. Fahrenheit is a US, Kelvin is an SI, and this is used in thermodynamics. So this is not one. All right. 49. Convert 2.9 kilograms to grams. Remember, a kilo is larger than our gram. So when we go down, we multiply. So we would take 2.3 kilograms and multiply it by 1,000, giving us B, 2,300 grams. All right. Ten to the negative sixth is the prefix for which measurement? Which unit? So again, we just did milli, so this is 10 to the negative third. The answer is A. Oops. It is A, micro. So micro is 10 to the negative sixth. Nano is 10 to the negative ninth. and mega is 10 to the positive 6th. There are some conversion charts online that I definitely recommend you looking up. Just memorize those, practice going through them, practice some of the questions like these, just converting between each one. 51, the part of an experiment that is manipulated is what? Thank you, my lunch is over. Awesome, and go enjoy. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. Oh no, it's showing an anatomy and physiology exam. Don't worry about it, it's okay. It happens every now and then. Just let it go, get back, and you got this. Don't let it get you down. 51, the part of the experiment that is being manipulated is the independent variable. So this is what the independent variable is, what the experimenter is going to change. The dependent variable is the results of the independent variable. So it is the result or the response. So it is dependent on the independent variable. The control is the standard for comparison, and the constant would stay the same throughout all of the groups. Take my TEAS tomorrow. Awesome, Ollie. Good luck on your exam tomorrow. You got this. Yeah, I'm cooked. No, you guys are not cooked. You got this. I can't believe I think this is interesting. It's good that you think this is interesting. Number 52, a well-tested explanation for a broad range of observations is called... The answer is, it is a theory. So a theory explains why something happens, and it is evidence supported. A hypothesis, answer choice A, is an untested, which we are going to test, but it is a prediction. A law describes what happens. So what happens? Laws are very rare because it is often the case where it cannot be changed. A variable is part of an experiment. Number 53, what is the dependent variable in a plant growth experiment based on light exposure? So if we're looking at plant growth, we want to know plant growth based on the light exposure. So if we're trying to see how much light exposure would affect plant growth, the plant growth would depend on the amount of light exposure. So the light exposure is going to be our independent variable. Our plant growth is going to be our dependent variable. So the answer is D, plant growth. Type of plant would be the control, and the water amount would remain constant, so they're making sure they're all getting the same amount of water. 54, what part remains unchanged in an experiment? I just mentioned that was C, the constant. Like in the last one, you would want the plants to get the same amount of water in each experiment. 55, what should be done after forming a hypothesis? So you form a prediction, and what follows that? The answer is B. So, you have formed a prediction. So you're predicting something. So you have to test that prediction through an experiment. Analyzing the data comes after experimenting. Drawing conclusion is the very last thing. Publishing the results is after everything is complete and you have showed your data. Oh, thank you for the heart hands, Con. Thank you so much. Number 56, the control group in an experiment is what? Can I go back a sec? Yeah, one of these I can go back. But again, it'll be on YouTube afterwards. It'll be on later today or tomorrow morning. But 56, the control group in an experiment they are identical except for the variable being tested. So the control group is used to compare to what is being tested. It does not receive the independent variable. So the experimental group gets the variable. Is not necessary. They are essential in good science. They are necessary for reliable results. D, always show the most change. The most change typically occurs in the experimental group. But again, A is exposed to the independent variable. They are not exposed to the independent variable. The control group is what doesn't, so you want to keep it you want to use it to compare the experimental group. 57, a table showing time versus temperature is an example of what kind of data or data? The answer is C. It is quantitative data because time can be measured in numbers and so can temperature. Qualitative is going to be like descriptive. Categorial would be grouped data. Binary would be only two categories. So 58. 58. A graph with an upward trend likely indicates so if we had a graph and the trend was the data, there's some down here, but typically all the points follow this. The answer is C. It is a positive correlation. If it's going up, it's going to be positive. If it was going down, it would be negative. But again, correlation does not equal causation. You could say like the classic example is like ice cream in the summer. In the summer, a lot of people are getting ice cream, but in the summer, a lot of people more go to the beach. There's more shark attacks. The number of sales increase in ice cream over the summer as well as the number of shark attacks, but the sales of ice cream does not impact the number of shark attacks. So correlation does not always equal causation. No relationship would mean like all the points are like all over the graph. 59, in an experiment, if an experiment can be repeated and produce the same results, it is. On the periodic table, this shows that the higher you go up right, the higher the electronegativity. Yes, so the higher you go up, so electronegativity increases as you move up and to the right on the periodic table. But the answer is D, essentially. It is just reproducible. Essentially, this ensures the reliability. So valid does not mean that it is repeatable. Biased means skewed. And uncontrolled means it's unreliable. 60, the best conclusion is based on, kind of talked about all this, but it is data. Scientific conclusions must be supported by evidence. So opinions are subjective, beliefs are not always based on science, and hypotheses are predictions. They are untested ideas. And those were all the questions that I had today, guys. I will be back again tomorrow at noon for Farm Friday. So for pharmacology, noon p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I haven't decided on which kind of pharmacology we'll do yet. Thank you, King. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys sticking around and being here. And I love you guys. You guys make this so much fun to do. I thank you all so much for participating and being a part of this. Thanks for following. Thanks for liking the live. We've got over to like 13,000 likes on this live, which has been insane. But we are going to do pharmacology tomorrow. I haven't decided on which kind of pharmacology. If you guys have anything, just no one has requested anything yet. This is a good refresher for me. My last chem class was 6 or 7 years ago. Oh my goodness. Good. I'm glad it was a good review. Thank you from Ghana, Africa. Awesome. Thank you. Great live. Thank you. Cardiac meds. Yeah, we can do some more cardiac. I've done cardiac in the past. I think it's on YouTube, but we can do some cardiac. Respiratory pharmacology. We've also done some respiratory pharmacology. Those are on YouTube too. But there is some stuff on there already. In case you were looking for some in the meantime. But thank you guys so much for joining. You guys are awesome. Tomorrow pharmacology. We're doing pharmacology tomorrow. Genius, awesome. My YouTube name, it's linked in my TikTok bio as well, but it's my name. It's Ollie Hertzeg. $53. Let me see. 53. Is that what the one was? Yeah, 53. So the control would be the type of plant. The light, so let's put this here. So the light is the independent variable. The plant is the control. And the amount of water that each plant gets is the constant. You would want each plant to get the same amount of water. Alrighty, any other quick questions here before I get going, everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining. Yeah, no problem. Any other quick questions before I get going? I appreciate you guys all being here. This is always so much fun to do. Again, we'll be back again tomorrow. Send some pharmacology topic requests to me. I'm more than happy to do them for you. But if there are any more questions, are you going to post these? Yes. So the practice exam itself is on my website now. It's under the today's date. And then I will be posting this to YouTube, hopefully later today, if not tomorrow morning. Kind of just depends on the processing time from YouTube. But if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to get going. Thank you guys. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow or in a future live stream. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.